And joining me from Washington, D.C. is International Trade Minister Mary Ng. Minister, welcome to Power Play. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us, because I think you've had a busy few days. So you're in Washington with a delegation of parliamentarians from all parties. You were there a few weeks ago with the Prime Minister. I'm wondering if you this time will be leaving Washington with assurances from the Biden administration that Canada will be spared some of those Buy American provisions that they are studying right now?
Yeah, Joyce, thank you so much. And I am here with my parliamentary colleagues from all sides. I would say that we are here as Team Canada because in addition to them, we have the consul generals from across the USA, the Canadian consul generals who are also here, and a number of business organizations as well as labor representatives are also here. So it's important that I'm here at this particular time because the EV provisions that are in the Build Back Better bill, of course, is being studied right now and is on the Senate floor. So important for me to meet with senators. I've had about 6 meetings with senators and from bipartisan, so on both sides. And Team Canada has had yet another number of meetings. So about 50 meetings that have taken place, continuing to advocate for Canada and to indicate the discriminatory nature of this part of the Build Back Better bill in the EV incentives and how it would hurt Canadian jobs, the hundreds of thousands of jobs. So really making sure that we are making ourselves heard to the senators who are doing this very work right now before the Senate.
So have you gotten any assurances? Because that's what the Prime Minister was there for a couple of weeks ago. I understand that this tax credit the Americans want to give on the electric vehicles is a slap, a punch to the Canadian auto industry. But I'm wondering, okay, so it passed the House of Representatives when you were there in Washington with the Prime Minister. It's before the Senate now. The Senate can tweak it. You could get a waiver. Canada could get a waiver. Do you get a sense that you're being heard? It's difficult for Canadians to get heard in Washington. I lived there long enough to know that for Canadian officials, because you're not a problem. If you were a big problem, then you would have probably more attentive ears. So are they hearing you, and do you get the sense that they will tweak it, understanding, the repercussions on the Canadian auto industry?
Yeah, well, I mean, am I being heard? I think I am being heard. I'm meeting with senators on both sides of the aisle. They have certainly indicated to me that they are not ready to vote for this yet, and that there is still some runway to work. So it is important that we are here doing this very important work. Of course, we're working on, of course, we're open to a range of solutions. I mean, bottom line for me is a solution for Canada. We have made the case.
When you talk about a range of solutions that you have proposed, Chrystia Freeland saying when you were there a few weeks ago that we like to suggest that to them solutions. What are they? You have a range, but it's not that wide range of solutions.
Well, I think that what's really important is to have these very important discussions. Some of the senators that I met with didn't know that this was offside of CUSMA or USMCA. I made them aware of that. They undertook they've committed that they will continue to work with us. Others, because I'm meeting with senators on both sides, some absolutely agree with Canada. So I think that what's important right now is to keep doing this work, keep working towards a solution for Canada, and this work is not going to get solved overnight.
No.
I mean, I'm continuing this work, of course, following up on the very good work that my Prime Minister has done, and we're here. And to your point about whether they are listening to Canadians, well, there's some 50 meetings that have taken place. I also met with bipartisan labor unions this morning, who also understand that and agree that the integration of our supply chains is important because it really has helped to create prosperity for both, for workers on both sides, and how powerful this is.
I understand that if you're bringing up the new trade deal, the new NAFTA, CUSMA, whatever you want to call it, means that you're telling them this could be in violation. So that could be one of Canada's steps in this whole process, and the reason why you're in Washington. I mean, there possible violation of NAFTA, World Trade Organization as well, their rules as well. So I want to go to another issue that you're probably having to deal with, is the softwood lumber issue. The Americans have double tariff on softwood lumber. Are you getting anywhere with that as well? Are you? I understand that they listen to you. Have they heard you?
Well, I've raised this issue at every opportunity, as you know, Joyce, with my counterpart, the U.S. Trade Representative, and certainly raised it with the Secretary of Commerce as well. But just before this interview, I met with the American home builders here in America. And here's what we agree. We agree that these tariffs increase the price for building homes. Housing affordability is an important issue for Americans. Making sure that first-time home buyers get those homes is an important objective here. And tariffs, especially the increase in these very unjustified tariffs, only increases home prices for Americans. So we need to keep pushing on this very important issue. I, of course, have been in regular contact with the Canadian softwood lumber industry, and we're going to keep up the pressure on this front as well.
Yeah, and interesting because Canada this is not the first time. We've been covering this actually for decades, the softwood lumber issue. And each and every time Canada brings the United States before a trade tribunal, wins the case. So you may end up by taking the Americans before the NAFTA tribunal, the World Trade Organization, the tribunal that will settle one more softwood lumber issue with the United States. So, I'm wondering if this relationship is any easier than with Donald Trump.
Well, on the issue of softwood and the various panels that Canada has litigated at, whether it be at NAFTA or at CUSMA and at the WTO, I would remind, and I think you have as well, that as recent as August of 2020, that the rulings tend to favor Canada, that we are a fair trading partner that plays by the rules. We're assessing taking this sort of new AR review before the panel, but we have litigated and we have been successful in that litigation. And the case that I made, well, it's not the case. I mean, what we shared with the home builders this morning is that these tariffs are detrimental to workers and to the home builders here in America, and it goes against one of the objectives of creating greater housing affordability for Americans. So
absolutely,
we must continue doing this work, and I will keep doing that for our industry.
Minister, that's all the time we have. Thanks so much for taking the time. I know you had a busy schedule in Washington. So have yourself a very nice weekend. That was International Trade Minister Mary Ng talking to us from Washington.